Echoes along the corridors of our lives. Politics tonight, only on TVC News.
Thanks for staying with us on Standpoint. Ondo is also having his election on November the 26th. And for the APC, the field of play changed when the former governor, Akeredolu, passed. Now, the former governor, wouldn't have been running because he would have served his second term in office. But it would have meant that an incumbent governor wasn't going to be running for office. Now you have a new governor who was the former deputy governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa. And now there are people saying, look, he might have interest in running for the election as well. And that has changed the field of play. There are other aspirants also coming up within the APC. People are wondering, will the governor get an automatic ticket? Or would there be a primaries? Would primaries be held? Would he be the candidate or not? Or sanctity has been created in the APC. Let's have that conversation with an APC chieftain from Ondo State. But he joins us via Zoom from Canada, Dr. Abiola Oshodi. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let me start by asking you your thoughts before we get into the politics itself. On the governor chose Olaide, former clerk of the National Assembly, Olaide Adelami, as his deputy governor. How calculative of a political move was that?
I thought that was a very, very brilliant decision by the governor, because for many reasons, our former governor, the late Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, hails from Owo, and they won a joint ticket in 2019 for this current tenure. So unfortunately, we lost him to the crude hand of death, and it only makes sense, for the governor, for the beneficiary of his death, who was a former deputy governor and currently the governor, to choose his deputy from our. And I think he chose right, and strategically too, because there were a lot of names being paraded around as the choice of the governor. So it was quite surprising that he went for Chief Adelami, who was not even amongst the lists of people being circulated on the social media then. And he's a very nice gentleman with accomplished, with a very, very enviable records at the National Assembly. And beyond that, he's a community grassroots politician with a very good name, very kind, and always on hand to help the needy in our society. He runs a foundation for widows. So I think the governor made a very, very good choice.
But I spoke to an APC chieftain in Ondo State at the time of the swearing-in of the deputy governor. And he said that the deputy governor, Adelami, was brought on board to complete the term of Akeredolu, that it was just to complete that term. But is that how you see it? Or are we now seeing possibly the ticket of the APC, the candidates that will make up the ticket of the APC in the forthcoming election?
To be honest with you, I don't see it that way. It was brought, as a very capable man, as a seasoned politician. Don't forget that Chief Adelami also contested against Aketi in the 2019 primaries. And I think he got some votes when he contested against the incumbent. So he's a man of his own, within the political cycle. So, yes, it might have been chosen because he hails from Owo, and the governor wanted some geopolitical balancing. Probably that's why he chose him. But I don't think it was on the basis of completing Aketi's tenure. To be honest with you, I think Chief Adelami has also launched his, used that opportunity to relaunch his own political career, and we'll see where that takes him to.
The former governor, Governor Akeredolu, endorsed the current governor, Aiyedatiwa, in public, calling him his successor. but we saw the crisis between both men just before the death of the former governor. That statement that he made in public, calling him his successor, is that something that the current governor can still rely on to win the hearts of the people of the party and the state as well?
I watched that video. It was quite instructive and quite prophetic. I think the governor can substantially rely on that, because it's not just about endorsement. It has a lot to do with the meaning of names and destiny. I don't think the governor was thinking that he was going to die before his tenure. I don't think so. But he was able to interpret the names of Governor Lucky, which means somebody to be lucky. And I think there are about two of them that have ascended power by virtue of that name. One is Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa. The other one was President Goodluck Jonathan, who succeeded President Shehu Yadua. So, when you see somebody with that name, Lucky, then you have to be very careful as a sitting governor, because you might just end up being succeeded by them. But that's just by the wayside anyway. I think he mentioned his last name, Ayedatiwa, which means the world has become our own. And as we see, Ondo State has become Ayedatiwa, because he has to complete his principal's tenure by February next year. So he's now the sitting governor, the incumbent, irrespective of all the crises and all the shenanigans that went on prior to when he was able to ascend power as the governor of the state.
And let's talk about that, what you have termed shenanigans and crisis in the party. How much has that played to his advantage or disadvantage? If he does decide to run, he has not made his intentions known yet, but how much will that impact on his chances as well within the party?
I think he has a very, very good chance within the party and amongst the public, judging by what went on during the last days of Governor Akeredolu, and how certain people wanted to stampede governance in the state, and the resistance shown by some active players, and the fact that Governor Ayedatiwa was almost impeached as well, but for some strategic intervention at the right time, it could have been impeached, by this set of people. So I think our people will not really forget and rally around him to make sure his administration succeed and complete the tenure successfully by the end of by early next year. And if he decides to run too, I think he's qualified constitutionally, at least for one term, if he chooses to throw himself into the ring and battle for the party's primaries that is scheduled to hold in April.
But the former governor still has his loyalists within the party. Do you think they will support the current governor in his bid to become the governor of the state?
I think a substantial number of them might not necessarily support him, because we know what they did to him as a deputy governor. The war they waged and the serious attempts to get him impeached. Politics is all about, there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, but what you have is permanent interest. So I think the governor will probably need to do a lot of hard work and bring as much people as possible on board. That's on the strength of assumption that he wants to contest the APC primaries, so that we can all have we can all align our interests together for the prosperity of Ondo State. I think he needs to toe that part. He might not get all the Akete's people on board, but I think there are a lot of reasonable ones amongst them as well that puts Ondo State first. And in as much as the governor puts Ondo State first and the APC first, I think he can substantially win a large number of them over.
But we know that an incumbent governor usually gets the party's ticket without, challenge or, too much challenge from aspirants. But we're seeing multiple aspirants demonstrating interest to run in Ondo State. Isn't that an indication that perhaps the governor doesn't enjoy total support within the party, and that this ticket might be a huge challenge for him if he actually does get it?
Well, don't forget that he wasn't governor 6 months ago. He was a deputy governor. And it was not one of those major stakeholders. And a lot of the people that are contesting today, many of them had made up their minds long before the late Akeredolu's passing. So they had been straddling the political space up and down, testing waters and stuff like that. But a lot of dynamics changed once the late Akeredolu transitioned and power changed to Lucky Aiyedatiwa's hands, through divine providence. So obviously a lot of things changed. People might not see that, but in the political realm, history is on his side as an incumbent. I think in Nigeria's political history, since the advent of democracy in 1999, it's only been one time that an incumbent fails to get his party ticket and didn't participate in the general election. And that was Lagos State. And that was because the people and the party stakeholders, they insisted that it was going to be like that. And it could have been different if Governor Ambode defied the party structure then and probably defected to another party and contested. We don't know what could have happened. So I think that's the only time an incumbent failed to get the party's ticket and also failed to get re-elected because he didn't participate in general election. Other than that, the incumbent always uses his network of political friendship, use the unique power of incumbency. We can't dispute that. I think that's the most potent political weapon, in our system. Once you are the incumbent, I think the race is yours to lose, And if you play the politics very well, your chances of winning is extremely bright. So I think Governor Aiyedatiwa will be coming from that historical perspective, from that historical strength, from that history that favors him to clinch the party's ticket. But he needs to work very hard. He needs to ensure that he unifies the party. He needs to speak continuously with all the stakeholders and the supporters, and come up with a very clear agenda that he has for Ondo State going forward.
But even at the national level, if I may come in, even at the national level, we've heard the national executive saying that, look, APC will not rule out automatic, or the APC has ruled out, rather, automatic ticket for the governor, which means that the governor also has to go and to the primaries like everybody else. One would have thought that, again, as an incumbent governor, he has the popularity and resource, and so it should be an automatic ticket for him. But that statement coming from the National Executive or National Working Committee, what is the implication of that, and what does that tell you?
It means that to a very large extent they want to throw the contest open a little bit. But to be honest with you, whether there's a primary or no primaries, I expect the governor to clinch the ticket. And the party cannot be seen to be narrowing the chances to one or two few people. That can encourage a lot of dissent and put the party in a very, very difficult position in the general election, because some of the people that might be excluded, they might not be happy and they might start to defect from the party. So the party has to be seen as much as possible as being transparent and neutral in the process. But we know a lot of things that go behind the scenes in politics, especially when it comes to governorship situation. There are a lot of stakeholders, there are a lot of interest, and like I said, the single power of incumbency favors the governor. amongst everybody else.
But do you think that...
And the NWC is very much aware of this.
But do you think that at least the party should have at least given him the first right of refusal?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know how that will sit with a lot of the people that had indicated interest before he came or before he became the governor. So a lot of them had been on the field, you know. She says Chief Akintanwa, Chief Jimo Ibrahim, and a couple of other ones have been on the field campaigning, you know, long before the death of Aketi and before Governor Lucky became governor. So I think that's where he needs to intensify his conversation and, you know, talking to people, talking to stakeholders, to get the understanding of the major political juggernauts that also have their eyes on the seat and, you know, make concessions with them, and so that he can easily win the party ticket. Assuming he's interested, because he hasn't declared, but I believe he will.
Is there a chance, because some of these people who are aspirants in Ondo State are serial aspirants and serial candidates, and so is there a chance that your party will select a different candidate other than the governor? And I know you have expressed optimism, but is there a 2% or 5% chance that that could happen?
Well, that's always a possibility if they are insisting that there will be a contest, you know, and if 2, 3, 4 people are contesting for a position, there's always a possibility that, you know, one of them would eventually win. But if that were to be the position, that always creates a lot of acrimony in the past, and it's not really worked very well for APC. So that's the danger in that. And I think a lot of conversations need to happen between now and, I think the primary is slated for sometime in April. So a lot of political underground, a lot of political conversations will take place so that we can streamline the field, you know, to very, very few manageable numbers, you know, so that, but mind you, I think when Governor Akeredolu won his second-term ticket, there were over 10 people from Owo alone that contested against him, and he still went ahead and won the general election. Just Owo alone, more than 10 candidates, including Chief Adelami, the current deputy governor. So, but the power of incumbency is is the most potent political factor in Nigeria that helps people to win. So, Aiyedatiwa has that on his side.
Now, in January, the governor met with stakeholders of the party. Many of the aspirants, except one, did not attend that meeting. Just one of them, only one of them attended. What does that imply? And then what does that also mean for the governor's ability? I'm not sure whether they were invited or not, but what does that imply?
Well, the most important thing is for the governor to have convened the stakeholders meeting, which I believe was well attended by all the relevant stakeholders. 1 or 2 people might not have been able to attend for different reasons. Maybe they got the information late, or they were not in the country, or maybe they were not in the state. Traditionally, the governor of APC state is also the leader of the party in the state. So when governor calls a meeting, you expect everyone to attend. So the person you are referring to, we don't know why he did not. Like I said, it could be out of the country, it could be out of the state, and maybe the...
No, what I said was, out of all the aspirants, 1 attended, the others did not attend. As much as 5, 6, 7 of them did not attend, only 1 of them attended. And so what does that mean? If you're having a larger number of the aspirants not attending that meeting, whether they were invited or not, it's not clear. But, you know, what does that imply?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that... you know, the truth of the matter is that a lot of stakeholders across the state attended, which that's very important. Yes, some of the stakeholders did not attend. I mean, some of the aspirants did not attend. It could signify so many things, you know. maybe they are still not comfortable with the new situation of the deputy governor becoming governor, and maybe the governor has not even reached out to them for one-on-one conversation. I'm not sure if that's happened. And they might be nursing one or two grudges as well. But all these are not important. If the governor demonstrates his leadership skills and reach out to them and invite them, and start having conversations with them. And I won't be surprised if he's already doing that. And that's the first in a series of meetings that is going to happen anyway. So
and that's what I was going to ask you, because how important it would be for the governor to have the ability to reach out on a wider scale, and the ability to consult with party stakeholders, including the aspirants. How important is that for him? If he is to get the party's ticket.
It's extremely important because it will help him unify, solidify the base of the party, and promote party supremacy. And in the eyes of the party stakeholders, they will see him as a very, very useful, potent political force that can be relied on. Because Ondo State needs APC government once again for the sake of continuity and the great work that Aketi did. So we need somebody that is already in the system and that understands the system to continue with the legacy of Aketi. So that will be very, very important, that he has to reach out to all the aspirants and work with as much as possible. He might not be able to win everybody to his side, but we expect him to win a substantial number of the aspirants to his side.
And I'm just going to ask you the same question I was asking the APC chieftain from Ondo ahead of their primaries in that state. Is there a sense that some people will defect from your party in the build-up to the primary, and then after the primary, that some of these aspirants and supporters will defect?
Well, there's always a chance that happens, but the good thing is, in such contests, that you stay focused and you present your best. So as people are defecting, some are also moving in the other direction to your party. So if you stay focused and don't focus on those that are defecting back and forth, because, some of our politicians have that history of romancing with multiple political parties and coming back and going. Why some of us, irrespective of what happens, we stay with the party that we identify with from the beginning. We don't believe in jumping from one party to another, irrespective of what happens. We want to give our best, we want to give our support. So let's hope and work hard for the strongest and the best candidate to emerge. And we rally around behind that candidate and give our support, maximally, so that we can win and deepen democracy in our system.
Well, following developments in Ondo State's politics, one can see that, it is going to be quite interesting. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'm Dr. Abiola Oshodi, APC chieftain in Ondo State.
Thanks so much for having me in the studio once again.
Right, those were conversations on Ondo politics and Edo politics. We had that earlier. Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching Standpoint. And remember that you can watch a repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I am Precious Amayu. Thanks for watching.